My name is Kayla Mercer, and I'm 34 years old. Up until that night, if you'd driven past my life, you probably would have thought, she's fine, she's safe, she's got it together. Two-bedroom apartment with a balcony full of plants that somehow survived my inconsistent watering. A car that wasn't sexy, but started every single time. All my bills on auto pay. A retirement account I actually contributed to. I built that life myself, spreadsheet by spreadsheet, one boring, responsible decision at a time. I've always been the sensible one, the friend who shows up with jumper cables and a backup charger, the one who remembers birthdays and keeps extra Advil in her bag, just in case. People say it like a compliment, but sometimes it feels like a label you slap on a storage bin. Practical, stackable, forgettable. And then I met Noah Patterson. Noah is also 34. He works in PR for a mid-sized tech company. Press releases, launches, networking events. He's all easy smiles and practiced eye contact. The kind of guy servers linger with 2 beats too long. We'd been together 4 years, engaged for 6 months. We talked about kids, about trips we'd take, about the house we'd buy. I covered most of the wedding deposits because, as he liked to remind me, he was saving aggressively for the honeymoon. His friend group was a lot. They loved to talk about promotions, cars, square footage. They rated restaurants by how Instagrammable the cocktails were. I'd always felt like the practical, unpolished one at the table, but I told myself it didn't matter. Noah chose me, right? Apparently, I was wrong. That night, he barely looked up from his phone while we ate. Every few seconds, his screen lit up with messages from the group chat. Finally, I couldn't pretend I didn't notice. "Everything okay?" I asked. "You've checked your phone more than you've looked at me." He sighed like I'd interrupted something important. "I had lunch with the guys today and a couple of the girls. They were asking about the wedding." "Okay," I said slowly. "And they were asking about you." Something cold slid down my spine. "What about me?" He put his phone face down. "Just what you do, what your plans are, what kind of life we're going to have. You know how they are." "Status Olympics," I said, trying to make it a joke. He didn't laugh. "They think," he continued, choosing his words carefully, "that I could do better, that I'm settling." For a second, I honestly thought I'd misheard him. "Your friends think you're settling by marrying me?" They didn't say it exactly like that. They just don't understand why I'm okay staying where I am when I could be aiming higher. They look at you and they don't see, I don't know, ambition? Flash? I let out a breathy, disbelieving laugh. "I make good money, Noah. I've been the one saving for the down payment. You know that." "I know. It's not about now. It's about the future." They were asking if I really want to be in a starter home forever. And it made me realize that maybe we're not on the same page long term. Realize what? My voice sounded thinner than I wanted it to. That maybe we're not on the same page. You're comfortable. You like your little routines. You're happy with your job, your apartment. That's fine. But I want more. I want a big house in a nice neighborhood. I want to travel, like really travel. I want to give our kids the best of everything. And I don't know if you're ambitious enough for that. There it was. Not impressive enough. Not ambitious enough. Not enough. I stared at him, at the man I'd been planning to marry, and it was like watching a stranger. "You've never said any of this was a problem before," I said quietly. "That's before I really thought about what I wanted. Kayla, I'm just being honest. Don't you want more than this?" I looked around his apartment. Mid-range furniture, rented walls, the same gray couch every 20-something in the city seemed to own. He was talking like he lived in a glass penthouse. "I want a partner," I said. "Someone who values the life we're building, not the way it looks on Instagram." "You're making this about Instagram. This is about ambition, drive." "No," I said softly. "This is about you letting your friends hold up a measuring stick to our relationship and deciding I come up short." He stood abruptly. "Maybe I do need someone who pushes me more, someone who's on my level." Silence stretched between us. "If you think you can do better than me," I said, You should go find her. His head snapped up. Kayla, come on, don't be dramatic. I'm trying to have an honest conversation. I'm being honest, too. I'm not going to audition to be worthy of you and your little status committee. Either you want to marry me, as I am, or you don't. It sounds like you don't. That's not what I... You just told me I'm not enough, I cut in. You called it settling. I'm not going to spend the next 40 years trying to prove you wrong, so let's not waste any more of each other's time. He went pale. You're breaking off the engagement over this? Over you, I said. Over the fact that you chose your friend's opinions over my dignity. I stood up, my legs trembling. I slipped the ring off my finger. I'll drop this off tomorrow, I said, placing it gently on the table. And I'll call the vendors I booked tonight. You can tell your friends you're free to aim higher now. His voice rose. Kayla, wait! You can't just... But I was already walking to the door. If I stayed one more second, I was going to start begging him to take it back. And I refused to beg someone to see my worth. I drove home on autopilot. Eventually, something inside me clicked over from heartbreak to logistics. I opened my laptop and pulled up the spreadsheet labeled wedding. Venue, caterer, photographer, florist, all neatly itemized. One by one, I called. Hi, this is Kayla Mercer. I need to cancel our booking for October 12th. I lost money, a lot of it. But with every confirmation email, I felt a little lighter. The next morning, I took the ring back to the jeweler. Their return policy gave me about $6,500 after fees. I moved it into a separate savings account. Then I sent Noah one last text. Ring returned. All vendors I paid have been canceled. You're free to aim higher now. He called me within seconds. I watched his name light up my screen 17 times over the next few hours. I didn't answer any of them. By the end of the day, I blocked his number. The first week after I ended my engagement felt like walking around inside someone else's life. My phone lit up constantly. At first, it was Noah before I blocked him. Then it was mutual friends. Hey, Noah says you two are just taking a break. You okay? I heard you guys had a fight. You'll work it out, right? No one said, he told us he thinks you're not impressive enough. I didn't correct anyone. I just went still. The only person I really talked to was Elliot Barnes, a coworker who'd been my friend long before Noah. 3 days after the breakup, we were eating leftovers in the break room when he said, Saw Tyler last night. He says Noah is still going to Nashville. I blinked. Nashville? Yeah, that pre-wedding thing. I assumed it'd be off now, but apparently not. For a second, I thought I'd misheard him. You mean he's still going even though I canceled the wedding? Elliot hesitated. I don't think he's told everyone that part. That night, I opened Instagram. There he was, Noah grinning in a boomerang video, clinking glasses with friends at some rooftop bar. The caption, Pre-wedding chaos begins. Nashville, we're coming for you. Heart emojis, fire emojis, comments full of can't wait and Kayla is one lucky girl. My name thrown casually into a narrative I hadn't consented to anymore. He was acting like the breakup never happened. By the time the Nashville weekend rolled around, I'd almost managed to forget about it. I spent that Saturday night exactly the way I always did. Grocery list, laundry, a face mask. I was in bed by 11, my phone on the nightstand, screen face down. At 2:47 in the morning, it started to buzz. I woke up disoriented, fumbling for the phone. Unknown number. Every instinct said to let it go to voicemail, but something in my chest pulsed. Answer it. I swiped. Hello? There was a burst of noise, music, someone laughing, the muffled thump of bass, and then a choked sob right in my ear. Kayla, a woman's voice gasped. Kayla, it's me. It's Riley. It took my sleep-fogged mind a second to place her. Riley Chen, Noah's best friend since college. Riley. I pushed myself up, heart rate spiking. What's going on? Are you okay? More sobbing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't let him do this to you. Cold, prickling dread slid over my skin. Let who do what? Noah, she whispered. We're in Nashville. He's been drinking all night and he just told us everything. About you, about the breakup, about what he's planning. My mouth went dry. What he's planning? He told us why you ended it, about what he said to you, about the aim higher thing. He laughed about it, Kayla, like it was just tough love, like you were being oversensitive. I closed my eyes. And then, Riley said, voice splitting, he said he wasn't accepting the breakup, that you just needed time to calm down, and that if he kept moving forward with the wedding, you'd come around. That you wouldn't let everyone see you humiliate yourself by not showing up. For a second, all I could hear was my own pulse. He what? I whispered. He rebooked everything, she cried. The venue, the caterer, the works. He told us tonight that he knows you were just being dramatic, and that on the actual wedding day, you'll show up because you love him and you won't want to cause a scene. I swung my legs out of bed, suddenly ice cold. Riley, I broke up with him 3 weeks ago. I canceled the wedding. I returned the ring. I literally texted him that he was free to aim higher. I know, she said miserably. That's why I'm calling. He's not right, Kayla. He's living in his own movie. And the others, some of them are encouraging him, saying all guys get cold feet, that you're just scared. I leaned my forehead against my bedroom wall. Where is he now? Passed out in the hotel room. But before he did, he said something that I feel sick even repeating. Riley, I forced steel into my tone. Tell me. There was a pause. He said that if you don't show up to the wedding, he'll just tell everyone you were abusive, that you were controlling and cruel, and he had to call it off. He said you'd never risk people thinking that about you, so you'd come to protect your image. And if you didn't, he'd make sure everyone saw you as the villain. My knees actually weakened. I slid down the wall until I was sitting on the floor. He said that. I swear to God, he said, Kayla cares way too much about looking like the responsible one. All I have to do is hint that she was toxic and everyone will assume it's true. I'm the nice guy. People believe me. And some of the guys laughed. But I've known him for 10 years, Kayla. He wasn't joking. He was planning. I stared into the darkness. This was beyond selfishness. This was dangerous. Why are you telling me this? I asked quietly. Because it's wrong. Because you don't deserve this. I can't do that to you. Riley, I said, forcing myself to think. Does he have any of this in writing? Group chats? Messages about the wedding still happening? Yes, he's been blowing up our group chat, sending photos of receipts, talking like everything is on track. I have screenshots. Send me everything, I said. My voice steadied. Screenshots, dates, times. Don't confront him yet, just document. Okay, she sniffled. Kayla, I'm so sorry. We hung up, and for a long time, I just sat there on the floor in the dark. 20 minutes later, the screen lit up again. This time, it was a series of message previews from Riley. Screenshots, one after another. I opened them one by one. There was Noah in text form. Cocky, confident, disturbingly sure of himself. Vendors are back on. Had to juggle some cards, but worth it. She just needs time. On the day, she won't let everyone see her bail. She cares too much about her image. Worst case, I spin it. Say she was controlling. Say she freaked out. People will take my side. They always do. My stomach rolled. He wasn't just refusing to accept a breakup. He was actively rehearsing a story where I was the villain. That was the moment something shifted inside me. This wasn't just about a broken engagement anymore. This was about self-preservation. I took a shaky breath, opened a new note on my phone, and started writing down everything from the call. Then I backed up the screenshots in 3 different places. If Noah wanted to turn my life into a performance, fine. But I was done letting him write the script. By sunrise, the fear had calcified into something sharper. Not panic, purpose. By 8:15, I was sitting in a lawyer's office. His name was Daniel Whitaker, mid-40s, calm in a way that made you believe he'd seen everything twice already. I explained the situation. Noah's meltdown, his refusal to accept the breakup, the rebooked wedding, the threats to fabricate abuse. When I finished, Daniel exhaled slowly. Kayla, your ex-fiancé hasn't committed a crime yet, but he is very close to crossing into defamation or intentional infliction of emotional distress. He laid out the strategy. Document everything. Do not respond to Noah directly. Do not meet him under any circumstances. Notify key people who could be affected, especially his parents. By noon, I had made the hardest phone call of my life. Noah's father answered. Mr. Patterson, it's Kayla. There was a beat of polite concern. Oh, Kayla, good to hear from you. Are you and Noah doing all right? He said you two were We're not taking a break, I said. We broke up 3 weeks ago. Silence, thick and stunned. I canceled the wedding. I told Noah. I returned the ring. I thought that was the end of it. I told him everything. The dinner, the conversation about me not being impressive enough, the breakup, the fact that Noah was still planning the wedding, the Nashville trip, the threat to lie about me being abusive if I didn't show up. He said that? Mark's voice was soft and horrified. Yes, there are witnesses and screenshots. He asked me to send them. 20 minutes later, he called me back. His voice was lower, almost shaking. Kayla, I confronted him. He admitted to rebooking the vendors. He admitted he thought you'd just come around when you saw everything back in motion. A brittle pause. He also admitted he may have exaggerated certain things to his friends. Exaggerated? I repeated, heat rising. He planned to accuse me of abuse. I know, Mark said heavily. He claims he was drunk. He claims it was a joke. I let out a bitter laugh. Drunk words are sober thoughts. You're right. I'm getting him home today. We're going to have a family intervention, and I'm calling every vendor to shut down whatever he's set back in motion. Relief hit me so fast it almost made me dizzy. Thank you. For the next several days, Riley kept me updated. Noah's parents dragged him home from Nashville early. There was shouting, tears, denial. His mother cried. His father threatened to cut financial support if he didn't get counseling. He finally broke. Admitted the breakup, admitted the rebooking, admitted the wedding wasn't happening. Riley texted me. His friend group is imploding. Harper won't speak to him. 2 of the guys are furious they spent money on a trip under false pretenses. Another text followed. People didn't know. He told everyone you were just having a meltdown. They're realizing now he lied to all of them. Then 4 days after the Nashville call, a new email popped up from Noah Patterson. Subject, please read. The email was long, rambling, contradictory, drenched in self-pity. He apologized for poor wording, not for the thought itself. He said he was confused, pressured, drunk. He insisted he never would have actually accused me of abuse. He said the wedding rebookings were a gesture of commitment. He asked to meet for coffee, for closure. He ended with, I still believe we could work if we communicate better. I deleted it without responding. Some people don't love you. They love the idea of you. And Noah loved the idea of someone who made him look good, not someone who challenged the image he curated. 2 months passed. If heartbreak has stages, mine weren't linear. But slowly, without fanfare, life started feeling like mine again. I went back to the gym regularly. I caught up with friends I'd quietly drifted from. My apartment felt lighter, like someone had opened a window and let a storm finally blow out. As for Noah, he moved. Not for a fresh start, not really. He transferred offices because he couldn't stand running into people who knew the truth. His parents insisted on therapy. His friend group fractured like brittle glass. Riley kept me updated now and then. He's different, quieter, embarrassed, avoiding everyone. Good. Not out of spite, but because remorse should feel uncomfortable. The strangest part was how people I barely knew started reaching out. An old coworker of Noah's messaged me. You dodged a bullet. He was always too obsessed with status. One of his cousins emailed to say she was sorry I'd been treated so poorly. Even one of his groomsmen sent me a DM. Honestly, Kayla, you were the best thing about him. I didn't need a fan club. I needed my peace. Then came the coffee shop moment. It was a Wednesday, late afternoon. I'd stopped by a little bakery near work. I was stirring cream into my coffee when a voice behind me said, Kayla. I turned and froze. Sophie Lynn, one of Noah's closest friends, the same friend who'd sparked the entire "you could do better" lunch conversation. She approached cautiously. Hi, do you have a minute? I could have walked away, but something made me nod. We sat at a small table by the window. "I owe you an apology," she said without preamble. I folded my hands. "Okay." She swallowed. "I'm the one who asked Noah if he was sure he wanted to marry someone who wasn't as ambitious as him. I said it stupidly, thoughtlessly. I never meant for it to become everything it became." I didn't say anything. She continued. "I didn't think he'd take it seriously, and when I heard what he said in Nashville, I was horrified." "Then why say it in the first place?" I asked. She let out a breath. "Because I'm insecure. My whole life I felt less. I compensate by trying to look like I have my life together. Fancy job, fancy clothes, fancy friends. And when I saw you, steady, grounded, unpretentious, I realized Noah didn't need all our flashy nonsense, and it made me feel replaceable." She looked up, eyes glassy. "So instead of dealing with that, I projected it onto you. I implied you weren't good enough. But the truth is, I was jealous that you didn't need exterior validation to feel secure." Her voice trembled. "I'm sorry. I'm deeply, truly sorry." I sat with her words for a moment. Then I nodded. "Thank you for apologizing. That takes guts." We talked for a few more minutes, nothing deep, just two women sitting in the aftermath of a storm. When she left, I watched her walk out into the street, and I realized something strange. I didn't feel anger anymore. Not toward her, not toward Noah, not even toward the version of myself who ignored a dozen red flags because I wanted love to be enough. What I felt was gratitude. Not for the pain itself, but for what it had revealed. I had been engaged to someone who loved how I stabilized his life, but not enough to defend me when it mattered. Someone who cared more about being impressive than being honest. That wasn't love. That was performance. The engagement ring refund still sits in a separate savings account. I haven't touched it. Maybe travel somewhere I've always wanted to go. Maybe leave it where it is. A silent reminder that sometimes letting go is the bravest form of self-respect. I'm not dating yet. I'm not rushing toward anything. But I've learned this. The right person won't need to be convinced that your quiet strengths are valuable. They won't need you to shine brighter to impress their friends. They won't measure your worth by how tall you stand next to their ambition. They'll simply see you and know you're already enough. Because aiming higher isn't about reaching for someone shinier. It's about choosing someone who sees your value without needing a single person to confirm it.